why it got gradually like popular nowadays.
Okay.
And particularly it has become popular for those who have been already working in Oracle Forms and Reports.
Mm-hmm.
And for them, the learning curve was very, very simple, very, like it was not a very
Right.
steep.
For a new person, how much time it takes to learn Oracle Apex?
Okay, now the question is, what is, on what technologies you have worked on?
No, I worked in, I have several years of experience. I worked in, what you call, IT, like I worked in client server in Java, then
Okay.
a little bit on, Oracle, then Oracle database.
Okay.
So I have a lot of experience, but I've been asked to work on a particular project for Oracle Apex. That's why I have to learn this.
See, for learning the Oracle Apex, the prerequisite is Oracle PL/SQL. Okay.
Okay.
Along with that, it is good to know about little bit of JavaScript and little bit about HTML, and you have probably heard about CSS. Okay.
Yeah, CSS. Yeah.
Because you just now told that you have earlier worked in Java language, right?
Yeah, I worked in Java a little bit.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so in those languages also, see, whatever other web technologies are in the market like Java, then PHP, these all languages, along with the main main concept of the language like Java or PHP, that resource also needs to know about the HTML, the JavaScript, and there is a concept called CSS. Okay, so these concepts are uniform across any environment. So any guy who is working on PHP have to know a little bit about all these three technologies. Any guy who is working on Java have to know about all these three technologies. Because with this application, with these languages, whether it's Java or PHP, we are basically creating web applications. So the basic of the web applications is based on HTML, JavaScript, and CSS. Now,
but so for this Oracle Apex 4.6, if I want to get a good handle on it, how much time it takes? Probably a month?
Yeah, at most a month. Okay, and the very easy thing about Apex is everything is wizard based.
Right.
Okay. You just keep on clicking the wizard. So yeah, you have to know like where to click and what are the properties available for each of the different type of objects. Okay.
But you have to call the PL/SQL procedures, right? Yeah.
Exactly. So the basic is, so anything you want to get from the database, you have to write only PL/SQL, now no other languages. Okay. Now once you get the data from the database, now the thing is, why do we need JavaScript? Okay, because some of the things you want to handle at the browser side. Okay, so for that, browser is such a tool which do not understand anything other than JavaScript.
Yeah, for validations that
yeah, right. Right.
And
suppose you want to
for that one JavaScript necessary, how much time it takes JavaScript?
Yeah, I'm coming to that. Now the question just now what you told, like I want to perform a validation. Okay, user has given an input, I want to perform a validation. Now without knowing JavaScript also, you can able to define that in Oracle Apex. By by using PL/SQL also you can define it. But the disadvantage of that is, then all the validations you have to perform after submitting the page to the server. Okay, so here, because if you write that in PL/SQL, a program, if you write it in PL/SQL, then definitely your browser cannot be able to execute that one. Okay, so that's why when the user gives all input in the screen, he have to submit the entire page along with the data to the server, and then only the server will do all its validations. Now, in case of Oracle Apex, the server is in Oracle, so that's why we have to write the validations in PL/SQL. So once the page is submitted along with the data to the server, then still the server is in Oracle, so Oracle can apply all the PL/SQL codes to apply all those validations. Okay.
Right.
Now to enhance this performance, because you have to submit the page. Without submitting the page, if you want to do it, then the only choice is JavaScript.
Right. Directly on the browser you can do it.
Yeah, directly on the browser if I want to check that, okay, if the value is...
Where do you put that validations on in the Apex for the browser?
In Apex, there is a concept called dynamic action.
Dynamic action. Okay.
Yeah. So dynamic action, in only the dynamic action you can define JavaScript programs.
Okay. Okay. Can we go through the demo now?
Yes, right. Just give me 1 minute because we want to go through the previous version.
Yes, 4.2.6.
Yeah, let me just try to open it. I think I have one of the instance.
So how long you said you will be available until March, right?
Yeah, I will be available here until March.
March, okay. What is your number here? Can I get your number?
Yeah, I will provide that to you.
Okay. So this is company from Hyderabad, right?
Yeah, I normally give the training with them.
Okay.
With the Hyderabad.
So right now you're working in Arlington, right?
Sorry, say again.
Right now you work in DC, right?
Yeah, I'm working in DC here.
Doing the Oracle Apex development?
Yes, we actually, my client is not in like DC. They are in Detroit. Okay, but we do the development. I do the development from here.
Okay, remotely.
Remotely, yeah. And nowadays, like to do any type of like database environment, database applications, you don't need to have your in-house servers. Lots of cloud servers are available. Oracle has its own cloud server, and they provide the Oracle Apex infrastructure. Right. Then the Amazon cloud server, there also you can install Apex. I mean, you can install Oracle. Apex is basically a free tool.
Okay. Right. But the only issue is, I was looking at the Oracle website yesterday. They don't have 4.6, 4.2.6 anymore, right?
No, they don't have it over there. Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm not sure why your client has asked you to work on that version. Maybe they are also already having that version.
Yes,
they don't want to upgrade it.
Yeah, they have that version. That's why I need to work into that.
But if the database is a new database, I mean, they can install the latest version. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know what is the plan, but right now they are stick with the 4.2.6. But the conversion process, migration process is easy.
Migration process is easy, but there are some limitations. We also don't prefer to do that always because there is a concept called plugins. Plugins are basically a third-party products, third-party programs that you can download. There are lots of different sites available, okay, where you can have all those plugins and you can install it. Plugins are normally like JavaScript programs. I mean, they are a combination of lots of programs that creates a plugin. Now, these plugins create some problems if you upgrade to the new version. Okay. So that's why it is. We always also not don't like perform that.
So are you familiar with the PLPDF?
No, PLPDF I have not worked on.
Okay, but have you heard about that?
Yeah, I have heard about that PLPDF. Normally, PDF reports are generated by using PL/SQL programs. Okay.
Okay.
But I heard that it is a little bit complex because they have lots of packages. You have to know the packages.
Right, correct.
Normally, okay, but normally we use, there is a report called BART, B-I-R-T. Okay, that creates, or Jasper report also we used. Okay, so these reports are almost, these products are almost very much similar to Oracle reports, where you can like define the query, and they have an ID where you can just drag and drop and create the report structure. Okay, so that way it is very much easy to handle it, which is not available in like PLPDF.
So PLPDF is little complex, right? Little bit.
Yeah, it's a little bit complex. That's why not much people are using this one. Whereas if you look into Jasper reports or BART reports, these are very much easy to use. I mean, if you have ever used with any reporting tool, like Crystal reports or Oracle reports, like they have their own ID where you can just drag and drop and create the entire repo structure, right?
Okay.
So that is available with this BART or Jasper reports. That's why, and these are also like BART is totally open source and is totally free. Jasper is also there. Not all products are free, but reporting is free. So you can download the reporting tool and you can create your own reports, and integration is also very easy. Okay.
So BERT produces a PDF reports from
Everything. These reports are every report creates PDF, Excel, CSV. Okay.
BIRT, right? You said?
BIRT, yeah.
Okay.
By the way, what's your name? Venkat, right?
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
Okay.
So you came on H4 visa or L1?
No, actually my wife is here.
Oh, okay, okay. So you came as H4 then, right?
Yes. Maybe just give me 1 minute. Let me try to find out that login. Okay. Just give me 1 minute.
Okay.
Okay, I got a 4.2. It's 4.2.0.
Okay.
But more
But
or
there's
less
no difference.
there's not much,
4.2.6.
not
Okay.
much difference. Yeah. But from 4.2 right now, actually the latest version is 5.1, and 5.1 they have brought lot of features into that. Can you see my screen?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, as I told you, for Oracle Apex, like the basic language that you need to know is Oracle PL/SQL. But on top of that, if you can learn about little bit about, not much, little bit about JavaScript and HTML, like you can get the knowledge of HTML within 2 days. It's not, as you know, it's very simple.
And how long does it take for JavaScript for this particular Apex?
See, JavaScript, I should not say like you need to be a master on JavaScript. Basic codes within like 2 or 3 days you can easily learn. Okay.
So 2-3 days JavaScript and another 2 days
Yeah,
for HTML.
if you go through any website, just basic syntax and what other things can be done. JavaScript, all you need to know the concept is how we can manipulate the HTML by using JavaScript. Okay. Otherwise, if else, these constructs are all same. Those you don't need to spend any more time for that. Only you need to know that how JavaScript can be used And what is the purpose of using JavaScript? Suppose on the screen, I want to assign a value to an item. Okay. Suppose user has given salary. I want to calculate some other allowance based on the salary, and I want to assign that on the screen. Okay. So how JavaScript can be used to handle that item? That's the thing you have to know.
Okay. So basically, the data is already there on the front end. You won't even make a call to the back end, correct?
Yes, yes. And there is one more latest concept, latest language, probably you heard about that, that is called jQuery.
Yes.
jQuery can also be used in Oracle Apex. Okay. But the purpose is how you have to know how it works basically. Okay. So I normally give a little bit of idea about those jQuery and JavaScript. Okay. I normally give those ideas also. And CSS is also another concept. CSS is very, very easy concept. Like within one day you can learn what is CSS. So CSS are basically some properties. Okay. So these are the concepts. Like it's better if you know it a little bit. Okay. But I should not say like any Apex programmer. It's not that he has to know those. Otherwise he cannot work. Without knowing also, someone can. Right? Yeah, to be without PL/SQL, yeah, if someone wants to learn Apex, he have to know at least PL/SQL because that is the base language.
And how much time that will take? PL/SQL. Yeah.
See, PL/SQL will take at least like to know the complete features of the PL/SQL, at least 10-12 hours. I mean 15 hours okay. At least. Yeah.
Okay.
What are the different constructs and those things you have to know at least. Okay, now in case of like infrastructure, what are the things we need to have to start developing on Oracle Apex? First of all is we have to have a database server, and the database server will be on Oracle only because Apex cannot work on any other database. Within that database, when you install the Apex, it creates another schema in that database which contains lots of tables that are solely used for Oracle Apex. So what we normally call as Oracle Apex repository tables. We don't have, I should not say we don't have, but there is as such no external like set of binaries that is installed when we install Apex. Like in case of Java, you have worked on Java, I think. So when you install Java, basically it's a folder and where the entire Java library is installed, right? The Java binaries. Okay, now once you write the program in Notepad or whatever like IDE you use, then you compile that by using the Java compiler, right? So Java is basically a set of like a binaries which you need to install, externally to some, not within the database, but outside the database you have to install. Oracle Apex, as such, there is nothing separate binaries there. When you install Oracle Apex, it will just it will connect to the database, it will run some scripts, and within that database, it will create a schema. Within that schema, it will create lots of tables. Okay. Now,
schema is basically a database, correct?
Schema is a user.
Schema is like a user.
Yes. So it will create a user.
In Microsoft SQL Server, we have the concept database, right? So in Oracle.
See, in Oracle, the concept is little bit different compared to SQL Server. In Oracle, what it does, it creates one database. In SQL Server, you can create multiple databases, right?
SQL Server, you can create on the same instance, you can create multiple databases.
Multiple databases, right? But here, the concept is little bit different. Here, we create one database in Oracle. And within that one database, we can create multiple schemas, or we can create different users. Each user can have only one schema. So user and schema are basically the same concept.
So schema consists of tables and views, right, and other database objects. right?
So what, yeah, right. So what a schema can contain? It will contain different type of database objects like table, then stored procedures, then
Right. So
indexes.
that is equivalent to the database in SQL Server, correct?
Exactly, right.
The schema, that's what I'm
Here,
asking. Schema in Oracle is equivalent to database in SQL Server,
database in
right?
SQL Server, yes, right, right.
Right. That's all. Okay. And the schema, and you said one user. What is that user?
Any user, like if you create a user,
Hmm.
that we call it as a schema in Oracle database. Okay. So in one database, there can be thousands of users or thousands of schemas. Now you are one of the user in that database. I am also one of the database one of the user in that database.
Mhm.
Okay. Now when you log into the database, you have to give your username and password. When I will log into the database, I will give my username and password.
So
After
basically, same thing like in one instance of Oracle, you can have multiple schemas installed, correct? Yeah.
all right, right.
So and it's one schema,
But
same
normally
thing in
if
SQL. Yeah,
normally
go ahead.
SQL Server, what it creates, when you create a database, it creates a MDB file, right? It creates a .mdb file. Okay,
Yeah, I mean it
and
creates some temporary databases, SQL Server.
right. So you can create multiple databases. I mean, you are one
Right.
of the user who can create multiple databases or can have access to multiple databases, and each
Right.
database is basically one single MDB file, something like that, right?
Right.
Here,
Right.
definition is a little bit reverse. That means one database,
Hmm.
and that database here also, like let us assume there is only one file that creates the entire database.
Yeah.
When we are the users of that database, we cannot create separate databases. Our limitation is only within, our scope is only within that user only. Okay, now within that user, what we can create is, as I told, like tables, indexes, procedures, all get stored into that single like database file.
Right. So that is a schema. So, but the schema that database, the schema can have multiple users, correct? Logging into the application.
Right, that database can have multiple schemas or multiple users. Here schema and users are same,
Schema and users are same. Okay.
are same. Either
Now,
we call it as the
what I mean
user.
to say is, you what you call in the once you create a schema, then but for your application you can have hundreds of users, right? Using the same application, 100 users,
No, see
and
what we do normally here. Suppose there is an application. Okay, we are
mhm,
creating. Now that application has its own set of tables. That application might be accessed by 1,000 users, say for
right,
example.
right.
Now normally these users in Apex, either you can create those users as separate database users. That
In
means
the
those,
in one schema, in one schema, correct?
no, not in one schema, in one database. Here the top level is database. There is one database.
Hmm.
Within that database there are 1,000 users or 1,000 schemas. We
Okay,
use
and
the
each
same
schema. Okay, so each schema is basically
one user.
yeah, one
Each
user or
schema,
one database in SQL Server.
right, yes,
Okay.
right.
Because I worked so much in SQL Server, I'm getting confused with Oracle a little bit.
Right. There is a little bit difference. I mean, database concept and schema concept, there is a little bit different because in SQL Server, one user can have access to multiple databases,
Right.
right? But here there is no multiple database. There is only one database. Within that one database, there are different thousands of users. So let us not use the term schema because that might be confusing for you. So let us use the
Hmm.
term users. So each user will have their own login to that database. Okay. Now here, now the
Hmm.
question is like the same server can have multiple database? No. One server cannot have, I should not say cannot, it can, but that's a totally different database. I mean, there is no link between the two databases. If I am a user, I want to use both the databases, I should be having two logins in both the databases. Okay, so one
Right.
server can have multiple databases, but as a user, I should be having two separate entities or two separate users to access those two databases.
Yeah, so that means that user should be created in both the schemas.
In both the databases. We should
Databases.
not use the term schemas, both the databases. We have to create, the DBA will create 2 users for me.
Hmm.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Now, when we create an application, as I was telling, like the application has its own like 50 tables. Now, these 50 tables, we create one application that is dedicated for that. We create one database, one user that is dedicated to that particular application. All the tables, all those 50 tables, we create into that user only. Say ABC. Now, this application is now being used by say 1,000 users, user 1, user 2, user 3. Likewise, 1,000 users we have to create in that same database.
Hmm.
These users do not have any tables of its own. The tables are stored into another data schema or another user, that is ABC. All these 1,000 users are accessing the application or accessing those tables through that application. Okay, and ABC will give permission to those users, to those 1,000 users, whatever they can do. I mean, all those insert CRUD privileges, insert
So
delta.
what is ABC? ABC is what?
ABC is also a user, like user 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, likewise. ABC is also another user.
Hmm.
All the tables we are going to create only under ABC. The
Account.
application, yeah, under ABC user.
Hmm.
So under ABC user, we will be creating all those 50 tables.
Right.
Now, these 1,000 users, they will log into the application, and whatever data they are going to store, they will get inserted into the tables that are stored in that ABC user.
And we have to give them insert access, right? Yeah,
Yes,
grant
yeah, you have to give the CRUD privileges, create, read, write, insert, update privileges, delete privileges.
for all these users, correct? Individual users.
Yeah, for all these users, or maybe for some users you don't want to give delete privileges, those things you
Right.
can manipulate. Okay.
Right.
That is the basic thing. Okay.
Right.
Now, once we install the Oracle Apex in the database, as I told you, Apex creates its own schema or own user. And in that user, it creates all the different tables. Now, what those tables are used for? Those tables are used for whatever applications we create. Like say, for example, you create an application in Java, say for example. Now, that entire Java application may be containing like 30 or 40 separate Java programs, and they are like called from each other, and those programs are nothing but external files, and these files, when the application is executed, these files are stored into a separate server where an application server is installed, right? Like Java programs, where the Java programs are installed, we normally install like Glassfish or any Java runtime server. We install it over there. The database might be stored in a separate server. The users who are connecting to the application, they are running that. We are using a URL from which the browser can communicate with that application server where all the Java programs are stored. Okay. Now, when I'm trying to run a Java application, now see, as I told you, the browser cannot understand Java program also. Okay, what a browser can understand, he can understand only HTML, he can understand only JavaScript and CSS. So browser
Right.
is not capable of understanding your Java programs. So what the Java compiler does, I mean, yeah, it creates some Java bytecode, that's fine. But on top of that, there is a application server which creates an HTML program out of those Java programs. Okay, and then that when someone is asking for a page or someone asking for a program, an HTML is generated by the Java compiler, and that is sent to the browser. Like in case of PHP program also, those who are writing program in PHP, they are writing the program in PHP, then they are creating an HTML file also where they put all those calls of PHP programs. Okay. Now, when someone is running a PHP program, the PHP compiler runs those programs, and those programs, whatever output they are giving, that they are embedding into that HTML program. And that HTML program, the entire program is generated with along with all its data and every stuff. That HTML is then being sent to the browser. That's the flow of PHP, or that's the flow of .NET programs. That is the flow of even the Java program also. Because the browser do not, even though we are writing, someone is writing the program in .NET or PHP or Java, the browser is not capable to handle all those programs because it doesn't understand those things. So there is a third party where there is a third-party program where it does that rendering the programs into corresponding HTML programs. Similarly, in Apex also the same thing happens. Even though we are writing the program in PL/SQL, but there is a Apex engine, Oracle Apex engine, which does this rendering the pages into HTML. So let me show you. So here, these are the different applications we have created. Now suppose I want to run this program. Now if I open this one, Jishan, can I call you after half an hour? Okay, now each of these applications contains, if I open it, we create, these are called like each of the programs, or we call it here it as a pages. Like a Java application. A Java application might be comprised of 50 different programs. These pages are also similar to that concept. Each of these pages is basically one set of one like page which the user can see when they call each of these pages by their page number. They can see the pages. Okay. Now if I open any of the page, suppose, okay, let me open this page. Each page contains different type of components, and these components, like here you see, this is a report. If I open this report, I can see a very simple select statement. Okay. I can also create some processes here. Here you can see some processes are there. Right now there is no process defined here, but these processes are nothing but PL/SQL programs. Okay.
The process are PL, that's where you actually call the stored procedures or whatever it is.
Yes, right. These processes are nothing but PL/SQL programs. Okay. There is another section called dynamic action. Yeah, here you can create some JavaScript programs. Okay.
Right.
So now the question
is, can you go up a little bit? Yeah. So we have regions, right? You know, we have a page, that's the main one. Then you have regions.
Right.
Then you have buttons, right? So when you page rendering is basically, then you know that is what it is. The process of showing the data on the front end. Page processing is actually when you are actually taking the data from the HTML, then submitting that information to the server, correct?
Yeah, right. So what happens? So when someone is running this program, see how the end user will run this program. They definitely will not come here and click on the run application button, okay? Because they don't, because this is the development environment, and end users, they don't have access to the development environment. So what we are going to do, yeah, I am a developer, so I can log into the development environment. I can click on the run application. So when I click on this run application, see, this is the URL. Let me grab it and put it here. This is the URL that we will be giving this URL to all the end users. Okay. All they need to do is they will just put this URL into a browser address, and I will put this here, and I will press enter. Okay. So once I click on enter, then the login page comes up. And whatever login I have, 1 minute, let me check one thing here. Apex account, okay. Let me run it here. So as an end user, I will give my username password, then I'll click on login button. Okay, so I'll just enter into the application. Now the thing is, once I give the username password, it opens up a page. What is this page? Because I can see in the application, this application contains many different pages. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, likewise, it contains up to 15 pages. Okay. Now when I logged into the application, which page out of these 15 pages, one page gets opened up? Okay. Which page this is? I can see that in the URL. This URL contains lots. Yeah, this URL contains lots of information, and within that we can see lots of numbers are there. The first number is the application ID, then the page number, then that's the session ID. Okay. Now, what the browser is doing, once I log into the application, then the browser sends this URL to the Apex server. The Apex server then grabs all this information from this URL. First, you will check whether this session ID is valid or not. Because if I give some wrong session ID, suppose I'm giving 9999, and then I take this one, I open a new window, paste it over here, and press enter. See, since I have given a like invalid session ID, so Apex engine, when it got the URL, it could not find any valid session with this number. That's why what it does for this application, it opens up the login page. What is that login page? That login page is, there is a specific page number for that. Every application has got one page, that is page 101, which is that login page. So by default, it opens up the login page.
So that 101 is always the constant.
Is always constant, yes.
101 is always the home page. The login
101 is always the login page. And okay. Page 1, normally we define page 1 as a home page, but you can change that. But login page should be.
The home page will come only after you log in, correct?
Exactly. Now that is the thing. Once I log in, then what the server is doing, after it checks that I have given the correct username password, then it goes to the home page. Now the question is, which one is the home page? That is defined in the application. It can be 1, it can be 2, it can be any other page. So it just try to find out which one is the home page. Then it goes to that page. Right now my home page is page number 1. It goes to that page. So it goes means the Apex engine at the server side, it is doing that. Browser, what it does, browser has tried to only open this link. The browser has opened this link. So first, see, normally what we do actually, we don't even give these links also, this information. We can give the end user only this link up to the application ID. So when the end user will open in the new window, he will just type in this. It will open up the login page first. Now this login page, so when I submitted this link, from the browser, say this link, from the browser to the server accepts that link. It will check, since no page number is defined, so it will go to the login page, which is page 101. the Apex engine will now render this page. Now what do I mean by render? Render means it will generate an HTML page for this page. To generate the
So rendering is basically generating the HTML, correct?
Yes, exactly. Rendering means generating the HTML. So all those components that has been defined under this section only, Apex engine will read each of these components here and it will create the HTML.
So it doesn't go to the page processing at all, correct?
No, no. At the
Page
time of
processing only when you are submitting that information.
exactly. So only right now when someone is trying to open the page, so I'm trying to open page 101, Apex engine will go to this page, will read all the components defined under the page rendering. Based on that, it will generate the HTML and that it will send back to the browser. If you right click on here and if you click this any browser, this option you will find, show page source. If you click this one, it will show you the entire HTML. This is the HTML. This is the HTML that Apex engine has generated and send it back to the browser. Okay. And that's what the browser will then read those HTML and it will show it on the screen in whatever format it has got. Okay. Now Apex engine job is over. He has sent the this HTML file to the browser. Browser has shown that to the user. It's done. Both are now sitting quietly. Now what the user will now do, he will now give the username and password and he will click on the login. Once the login is clicked, now the browser will again come into action. He will now submit this page again back to the server along with that username password. What the browser will now do, he will now start executing the components that has been defined under the page processing of that particular page.
Okay, can you do me a favor? Can you repeat this? Okay. Last 2 minutes because my daughter came in, she disturbed me.
Okay, sure. Okay, no problem. So you have understood the rendering process?
Yeah, rendering I understood. Like
okay.
So when HTML, right?
When the Apex engine has rendered that HTML, send that to the browser has read that HTML, showed it to the user. Okay, now both of their task is over. Apex engine is also sitting quietly at the server level. The browser is also sitting quietly at the user level.
Now on the rendering process, is there any something that it goes through the left side of that thing, like in the,
Yeah, exactly. So when the Apex engine is rendering the page, he has read only the components that has been defined under this section. Okay, and based on that only he will generate that HTML. At the time of generating the HTML, he will never take a look into this section.
Okay.
Okay. Only this section he will take a look into this. Based on that, as I showed you, he will create this HTML because at the background you can see the HTML by clicking on this option, show page source. So this is the entire HTML that Apex engine has rendered. Okay. Now, as I told you, like if we need to have a little bit knowledge about HTML to understand this HTML. I will not say we have to know understand line by line, but the structure we have to understand what is the basic structure it is creating. And for that, initially, we have to gather a little bit of HTML knowledge also. Okay. Okay. Now, after the rendering page is done, so server has sent that to the browser. Browser has displayed this one to the user. Both of their work is over. Now, user action will come into picture. User will now give the username. User will now give the password, and he will click on the login button. Then again the browser action will start. The browser will now submit all the data. Right now there are only two data, username and password. So the browser will now submit this entire page back to the Apex server again, or Apex engine, whatever we say. Apex engine or Apex server will first accept these two values and he will store these two values into some area which we call it as a session state. He will first store these item values into some session state and then he will start looking into the components that has been defined under the page processing. These components are nothing but programs, some PL/SQL processes. There can be some validations, there can be some computations, there can be some processes. These are nothing but some PL/SQL components.
Right.
So
So here
now,
it doesn't run each and everything, right? So
no, he will run each and everything. The Apex engine will now run each of these components. If any computations is defined, you will first execute.
right, but no, only if it is unconditional, then it will run everything.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, definitely. No. See, first of all, you will try to check the condition. If all
Right.
the conditions are satisfying, then definitely you will execute all the components,
Okay.
all the
Okay.
computations. Okay, but he
So
will
it
try
will
to.
go through line by line. It will go through line by line, correct?
Yeah, it will go through the line by line, and the sequence of the components is also defined here: 10, 20, 30. And
So
right
that's
now
how
here,
that's how it will run.
exactly that in that sequence only they will get executed
In the increasing order of sequence.
in the increasing order. So if you want to execute any process before this one, so you have to change the sequence.
So it is not
It is not.
sequential. It
It
is
will.
not sequential. It is by sequence, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean sequence is the sequential. Sequence is the that order only they get executed.
Right. So
So if you say,
you can change that sequence number, correct?
yeah, you can change the sequence number. Yes.
Okay.
So two things drive the execution. First of all is the sequence number, and the second one is the condition. You can mention some conditions that will get checked. Apex engine will check that condition. If it's true, then only it will execute the process.
So
Okay.
this is where also, if you want to pass any parameters to the other page, then you can set the values here, correct?
No, no.
No. Okay.
No, that is in branches. If you want to pass anything from one page to another, that is done by branches. Okay.
So that means, I'm sorry, repeat that again. If
If
I
you
want to
want
pass
to
any
pass any parameter from one page to another, that is done by using branches.
okay.
So this
Not through
process,
after submit.
no, not through after submit. These
So
are
what is
these are
the
page.
meaning of the branch means? What is the branch means?
Okay, I'm coming to that. So once the page is submitted, as I told you here, once the login is submitted, login page, once I click on the login button, the page is submitted back to the server along with this username and password. So in that page 101, there is no computation, no validation, only I can see there are 3 unconditional processes defined. Okay. So this process, that means unconditional means definitely all these processes will get executed.
Sequence by
After
sequence. Right.
sequentially, yeah, first 10 will get executed, then 20, then 30. After that, what will happen? Browser has submitted the page, so browser definitely wants to see the next page, right? So he wants to, if his login is successful, then definitely he wants to see the first page of the application.
Right.
Okay. So here, what is the first page of the application? Yeah, that page you can mention it over here. Like after executing all these processes, where it will go to, which page it will go to. Apex engine, which page it will render, that you can mention it over here in the branches.
Right now, where it is going? I mean, without
Okay.
right now there is no branch, right?
Right now there is no branches, but let us see where it is going. So I click on the login. Okay, now here if I grab this URL, I can see it is going to page number 1. Here you can see it is page number 1. Now I have not mentioned any branches. Then how come it is going to branch now page number 1? Yeah, it is defined somewhere else. Home page, because that is the home page. The home page is defined somewhere else. That's why it's going right now. But you could have mentioned it over here also.
Right.
Okay. So that is the branches. So that means when I move to any page at that point of time, when I create a branches,
No,
I
no.
can.
No, without the branch right now, it is going to home page, correct?
It is going to page number 1, which has
Page
been
number.
defined.
Where are we defining that here?
Okay, that is defined at the application level. There is some application level properties. This is 1 minute security. No, localization. Sorry. Here you see this one is defined over here. Home URL is here, it is mentioned as 1.
I know, but what my question is, in the other page, where are we defining it to go back to the home page?
No, we are not defining that in the login page. That is defined here in the home URL. That is, this property is defined as the application level. Okay, there is a property at the application level where we have defined what is the home URL, and that URL contains the page number 1 over here.
Okay.
Okay.
So automatically it knows to go to, after the login page, it knows to go to the home page.
Page number 1, yes, right.
And the page number 1 is defined here.
If I want to change the home page, I can change it over here. Like I can put 10 over here. Like.
Okay. It goes to page number 10.
Post login, it will go to page number 1.
No, it goes to page number 10, right?
Sorry, page number 10, yes.
Right. So let's run it and see where it goes.
Okay. I've changed it.
Yeah, you can change it directly.
I'm logging out. No, sorry, don't need to change it.
But otherwise, if it is not a home page, then you have to specify a specific page, correct?
Yeah, right. Yeah.
It's only for the home page. You don't need to specify a particular page.
Right. Yeah, that is the property. I will check it. And
okay, that's fine. Don't worry. I mean, that's the default property of the application.
That's the property. Yeah, that is using that one.
But otherwise, if it is a second page, right? Then you have to define.
Then you have to create a branches over here. Yes.
You have to create a branch. So let's say that
Now what happens? Now here what happens? Like since the default page is page number 1. So after this processes, all these 3 processes get executed, then it will Apex engine, because the execution is still happening at the server level, at the server side. Okay, so Apex engine, first of all, he will execute all these 3 processes, and he will check.
It goes to the computations, validations, then the processes.
No, computation process, there is nothing there.
I know, but if there are defined anything.
If anything is defined, first it will execute those computations, then it will execute the validations. Okay. If any validations get failed, then from here the Apex engine will generate an error message, and he will send that back to the server. Suppose okay, actually that right now there are no validations. So if I give a wrong password, say for example I'm giving a wrong password, and click on the login. So here actually you see there is no validation. Okay, but there is a process, this login process. Here if you open that process, this is nothing but a PL SQL package process. It is executing. The package name is Apex authentication, and within that there is a procedure, login procedure, and that accepts 2 parameters. So if I give a wrong password, this process generates some error message, and that error message will be conveyed back to the browser. If I give a wrong password and click on the login button, see I am getting a error message.
Invalid login credentials. So
yeah, this error message is not being generated by any validation, because there is no validation, but it is generated by this process.
The login, the automatic.
Right. So once this process is failed, then it will not execute any other processes below. It will stop there. Okay. It will stop there. Then
So if there is a branch, then it will go through all these processes, then it will.
Yeah, all these processes needs to be successfully executed. Then only it will go to the branch, and whatever page number is mentioned there, then it will go to that page. Suppose right now what is happening after the successful login, it is going to page number 1 because that is the home page. Okay,
Right.
so it will go to page number 1. Then it will start reading all the components under the page rendering, generate the HTML, send that back to the browser. That's what I am seeing right now. If I give a valid, yeah, that's what it is doing right now. Apex Engine, after the successful login, it checks the username password. After it's got success, it goes back to page number 1, generate the HTML for that, send the HTML to the browser.
Right, and it will do the whole process re-rendering.
Yes, it will now render page number 1 and generate the HTML for that page, send that to the browser. Again, browser will just accept that file, read the file, HTML file, show it to the browser. Whatever this color and this, that, everything, the layout is all mentioned in the HTML. It will read enter thing and it will show that to his, like in the window.
Okay.
Again, it will sit quietly. The browser will sit quietly. Apex server engine is also sitting quietly. Again, browser is waiting for the user interaction.
Okay.
So what the user can now do? User can now click on any, like these are the tags. See, again I clicked another tag, and this is see page number 3. So the user has clicked on the link that is basically pointing to page number 3. As soon as the user clicked on the link, the browser will now send this URL to the server. The server then accepts the URL, and he found that okay, now page number is 3. So he will immediately now go to page number 3. Based on all the components defined under the page rendering, he will now again generate the HTML for this page. And again he will send that to the server, to the browser. Browser
Okay, so
will now
if you want to pass any parameters, then from one page to another page, then you have to use a branch, correct? And then there is I saw that something called set. Where is that set in your set values?
Normally what happens, like when in this URL you can send parameters. Okay, now at the time you define these parameters.
No, I mean I saw that in the front end somewhere. There is a thing called set values.
Right. So let me show you one minute.
Set values.
No, set values is basically, see, set values where you create a branch. Say I am creating a branch. Okay. Page number say 100. Here you see there are two properties. Set these values with these values. Okay. So here suppose I am if I mention these two properties, what will happen? This I am creating a branch.
Right.
Branch
so it is going to the page number 100.
Yeah, it will go to the page number, and in the URL, it will basically pass this value 10,000 to this item in that particular page.
Right. Then it will, when you go to that page, then you know it is setting these values, correct? In that page.
It is setting this value in that particular page.
Okay.
So normally what happens, like if this item name, so whenever we are assigning any value to any item, that value is stored in the session state. Session state is nothing but an area where it stores all the item values, okay, of various pages. And when a session is running, until it is logging out, until the user is logging out from that session, if I assign any value to any item, that remains there until the user is logging out from the application.
Right. So if there is let's say that if this is the text box on the page number 100, item number 1, then once you submit this one, then when you log into that page, you should see this value.
Yeah, this value will be visible there.
Right, in that item. Okay. Okay.
Okay. Now that value, even if you don't show it on the scheme, many times we define a hidden item.
Right.
Okay. So that value will still be stored in the session state in the server side. Okay. And that will remain there until someone is not logging out from there.
Right. So this is basically yeah. I mean this is the way to pass values.
Yeah, this is the way to pass the parameters. Yeah.
So only through the branching only you can do it.
Yeah, only through the branching you can do it. Yes.
Okay. So branching is basically we are telling to go from one page to another page.
Yeah, one page to another page. At that point of time, if you want to pass anything, these are the two properties that you can set.
Set these items and with these values. Okay.
And also there is one more parameter, clear cache. Here you can mention the page number 100. Okay, that means in that page there can be like 20 items, and if that page suppose already have been traversed earlier.
Right.
And while I have already traversed that page, maybe some execution, some processes got executed in that page at the time of rendering the page, and that processes have stored some values into all those 20 different items.
Right.
Okay. Now, as I told, those 20 values are then yeah, can you hold on?
Right.
Hello? Oh, okay, okay. Just okay. Okay, so once the session is holding, now if you want to go back to that page again, then you want to clear all the page items in that particular page. So you can set this property.
Yeah, if something is already there, you want to just clear it up.
Right.
Okay.
So this is the basic concept of like page rendering and page processing.
Right.
And normally, like in my training session, I will show you all the different type of pages that we create. There are different type of reports you can create. There are different type of forms you can create.
Okay.
And I will show you how to create each one of them.
Okay.
And more to that, I will also give you the basic. There are some basic like architecture concepts are also required.
Right. Okay. Now, can you also you know, help me to learn PL/PDF, or that will be difficult?
No, PL/PDF I don't teach in this session actually. See, as I told you, truly like PL/PDF I have never worked on. Okay.
Okay, okay, that's fine.
So
that's fine.
I will not do the justification here.
Yeah, I know, but it is not really complex, right? I mean, something.
Yeah, actually I have not learned that because I have never worked on that. So
okay, okay, but it is not very difficult, right? You know.
Not very difficult. Yes, yes.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
So you can let Swati know that.
Right, right. And what is your name? Is Ghosh, right? Debraj?
Yeah, my name is Debraj.
What is your number, Debraj?
Yeah, my number is 571. Yeah, 571-355-4525.
4525. Okay. Sure. I will.
Yeah, you let know Sati at what time. See, my preferred time will be sometime around like 5:36.
Okay, okay. Give me number 571-355, correct?
Yeah, 4525.
Okay, very good. Okay. Okay, I'll definitely let you know. Okay. I mean, it was very good. That much I can say. Tell you.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
Okay. Very good. Okay. Thank you.
Thanks. Yeah. Thank you. Bye.
Thanks. Bye.